Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to another episode of China Update, where I provide you with the most up-to-date political, economic, and geostrategic analysis on the world's #2 economy. My name is Tony. It's good to be at the end of the week, with the weekend ahead. Let's jump in. First up, the global financial markets were shaken when Hangzhou-based AI startup DeepSeek launched its namesake large language model app back in July. The app's rapid rise to the top of the iOS freeware charts in the United States within 2 days of its release sparked an intense reassessment of technology stocks, particularly in China and the United States. One of the most immediate consequences at the time was a massive hit to Nvidia, the dominant AI chipmaker, which lost $600 billion in market value on the 27th of January as its stock plunged to 17%. The ripple effect was felt beyond Nvidia, though. Goldman Sachs quickly adjusted its outlook on China's markets, revising its 12-month target for the MSCI China Index upwards by 13% and the CSI 300 Index by 2.2%, anticipating potential inflows of $200 billion. The Hang Seng surged by 21%, making it the world's best-performing equity benchmark this year so far, while an index of Chinese technology giants, including Alibaba and Tencent, entered a bull market. DeepSeek's rise has also drawn comparisons to historic technological breakthroughs. Germany-based Deutsche Bank, for example, dubbed it China's Sputnik moment, referring to the Soviet Union's launch of the first artificial satellite in 1957, which shocked the West. Societe Generale, meanwhile, introduced the Seven Titans label for major Chinese technology firms in reference to Wall Street's Magnificent Seven. Despite these bullish signals, skepticism remains. Quote, "I'm not sure if it's sustainable," end quote, cautioned Wang Kai, a strategist at Morningstar, adding, quote, "A lot of technology names are rising because of the enthusiasm over homegrown LLMs. But that does not necessarily translate into more revenue," end quote. Nevertheless, investors see opportunity. Alex Au, founder of AlphaLex Capital Management, noted that any pullback would present a chance to buy, expressing, quote, "Investors have realized that China is still able to develop its own technology with very limited resources," end quote. DeepSeek's impact extends beyond financial markets. The AI breakthrough was followed by a high-profile meeting between Xi Jinping and China's top entrepreneurs, including Alibaba's Jack Ma, signaling renewed government support for the private sector. We covered this and reasons to think that it's all not how it seems at the time. Zhang Zhiwei, chief economist at Pinpoint Asset Management, recently observed, quote, "The macro impact of DeepSeek on the equity market is arguably stronger than the interest rate cuts and policy stimulus announced last year," end quote. With China pledging further AI development in its recent government work reports, analysts anticipate a sustained rally in the country's equities. Edith Chen of CGS International observed this week, quote, "This time we expect the stock market gains initiated by DeepSeek to mark the start of a multi-year revaluation of Chinese equities," end quote. Indeed, yesterday, Thursday, saw the publication of new data from the Institute of International Finance, IIF. According to the numbers, in February, foreign investors funneled nearly $16 billion into emerging markets, with a strong focus on Chinese stocks and developing market debt. Chinese equities attracted $11.2 billion, their highest monthly inflow since September. Other emerging market stocks faced outflows, resulting in a net equity loss of $2.1 billion. Conversely, emerging market debt gained traction, securing $33.2 billion, even as Chinese bonds suffered a $15.1 billion exodus. Once again, analysts pointed to China's advancements in AI and electric vehicles as key drivers of investor intent. Despite geopolitical uncertainties, some are now arguing that Chinese equities remain undervalued, offering potential upside. Though we note, and this is important, that no matter how well Chinese equities across the board have done this year to date, and tech equities specifically over the last year, China's stock market remains well below its 2021 peak. That is, it is responding from a low base, and it is still down since its peak 4 years ago. Meanwhile, DeepSeek has OpenAI concerned, We will discuss this later in today's video, but first we turn to concerning developments around Taiwan. Yesterday, Thursday, Taiwan's President William Lai Ching-te convened a high-level national security meeting unveiling 17 key strategies to counter what he described as 5 major threats from China. Lai's address emphasized the importance of national unity in resisting Chinese influence, reinforcing Taiwan's, quote, commitment to sovereignty and democracy, end quote, adding, quote, we must unite as citizens to counter external divisions, strengthen media integrity, and expose foreign influence, end quote. He further stated that China qualifies as a, quote, foreign hostile force, end quote, under Taiwan's Anti-Infiltration Act, justifying stricter countermeasures. Beijing's Taiwan Affairs Office swiftly condemned Lai's statements. Spokesperson Chen dismissed Lai's claims, stating, quote, Lai Ching-te once again propagated the separatist fallacy of so-called mutual non-subordination across the Taiwan Strait, end quote. Chen went further, labeling Lai as a, quote, destroyer of cross-strait peace, end quote, and a, quote, creator of crises in the Taiwan Strait, end quote. In a controversial move, Lai's administration has proposed reviving military courts to prosecute cases of espionage and treason within Taiwan's armed forces. According to the UK-based Financial Times, the proposal aims to curb Chinese infiltration, but has met resistance from Taiwan's opposition-led parliament. Critics argue that reinstating military courts echoes Taiwan's past under martial law, which ended in the 1980s. Experts suggest that Lai's speech was timed to preempt an anticipated address by Chinese leader Xi Jinping on the anniversary of China's anti-secession law. James Ifan Chan, an assistant professor at Taiwan's Tamkang University, observed, quote, Lai is trying to irritate Xi and make Taiwan appear as a victim. Maybe after Xi's talk, there will be a drill. End quote. The implications extend beyond Taiwan. According to US-based Foreign Affairs, Taiwan remains highly vulnerable to Chinese grey zone tactics, particularly in its energy sector. With over 97% of its energy imported, a Chinese blockade could cripple Taiwan's economy within weeks. Meanwhile, China has been intensifying its military posturing. Military Substack outlet, The War Zone, reports that new imagery of China's invasion barges suggests a strategic expansion of amphibious warfare capabilities. Recent imagery has surfaced showing China's development of jack-up barges, a critical asset that could play a role in future amphibious assaults on Taiwan. These barges, designed to support temporary piers and extend the reach of naval operations, reinforce China's increasing reliance on dual-use civilian and military maritime capabilities. A newly circulated video captures 3 jack-up barges deployed together on an unidentified beach, forming a long, stable causeway extending into deeper waters. Satellite imagery from Guangzhou Shipping International confirms that 3 of the barges previously under construction have now left the shipyard, with 3 more still in production. Unlike commercial vessels, these barges did not emit automatic identification systems, AIS, signals, raising suspicions that they may be PLAN, People's Liberation Army Navy, assets. China has a history of employing commercial ferries for military purposes while keeping their movements discreet. The use of jack-up supports, which stabilize the barges in rough waters, makes them more resilient than traditional floating causeways, such as the temporary pier used by the United States military for aid deliveries to Gaza. These signs are clear. China continues its preparations for an amphibious assault on Taiwan. Next up, we have one more development to cover, but just quickly, if you're getting some value from today's episode of China Update and you have not done so already, maybe consider subscribing so you're on top of the most up-to-date analysis as it's released. And of course, if you're enjoying today's episode, please don't forget to hit the like button. Thank you so much. And finally for today, the recent rise of DeepSeek has prompted OpenAI to seek US government support. In a letter to the White House Office of Science and Technology Policy, OpenAI underscored the need for a new AI action plan to maintain American leadership in artificial intelligence, particularly against China's state-backed AI ambitions. OpenAI argues that DeepSeek, much like Chinese telecommunications giant Huawei poses risks in critical infrastructure, given its potential ties to the Chinese Communist Party. It warns that DeepSeek could be compelled to manipulate AI outputs and that its models might facilitate illicit activities such as identity fraud and intellectual property theft. One of the key advantages for PRC AI firms lies in what OpenAI calls copyright arbitrage. Unlike the United States and EU, which enforce opt-out regimes for copyright holders, China can freely use vast amounts of data without legal constraints, putting American AI firms at a disadvantage. This means Chinese AI companies can train their models on diverse and extensive datasets without needing to navigate the ethical and legal limitations imposed on their Western counterparts. This unrestricted access accelerates the development of more capable AI systems at a lower cost, further intensifying global competition. Moreover, the lack of regulatory oversight in China allows DeepSeek and other PRC AI firms to integrate copyrighted material into their training datasets without fear of litigation. In contrast, US and EU AI firms must contend with copyright holders seeking compensation or legal action, which restricts their ability to train models on the same breadth of content. This disparity forces Western firms to either invest heavily in licensing agreements or limit the scope of their training data, slowing innovation and increasing development costs. The shift in competitive dynamics is alarming for US and European AI companies as it undermines their technological edge while granting China a formidable advantage in the AI arms race. Meanwhile, DeepSeek is prompting AI companies to rethink efficiency. Canadian firm Cohere recently announced a Command A model which runs on significantly fewer NVIDIA A100 or H100 chips than some large models, including DeepSeek's. Similarly, Google's latest Gamma AI models can operate on a single NVIDIA H100 chip, signaling an industry-wide push towards efficiency. Despite the security concerns surrounding DeepSeek, some AI leaders see its innovations as a wake-up call. Cohere CEO Adrian Gomez noted that DeepSeek's rise highlighted inefficiencies in AI development, pushing companies to optimize their resources. As the AI arms race heats up, OpenAI's call for government backing underscores the geopolitical stakes, whether through regulation or innovation. The battle for AI supremacy is just heating up. Okay, that is today's episode of China Update. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. Have a good Friday, have a restful weekend, and I will see you all tomorrow.